Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Sunday fun day, let's hope so. Welcome to the warm-up episode 84. I'm your host, Brady Frost, and to preview Hull City, I'm joined by Thomas Bradshaw. How are you, Tom?
All right, Brady, mate. I'm not too bad. Almost recovered from my illness. The medical team gave me the go-ahead today. I might just make 60 minutes, I think, just about.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, we have got 5 subs to play with, so who knows what we'll sub you on for.
Nice one. But yeah, good. How are you? You all right?
I'm good, yeah, I'm good. I feel a bit more positive about the old Scotsman in charge after the Luton game. I was going to ask, actually, Tom, you were off last week.
Yeah.
So we did the special on Mark Fotheringham.
Yes.
We haven't heard your opinion. Just quickly, what do you kind of make of the appointment and the 2 games in charge so far?
Totally honest, bit uninspired about the appointment coming off it straight away. Then obviously Reading happened, and it was a bit like, oh, blooming heck, classic. It was maybe a bad decision, this. But then there was a lot of positives from Tuesday night. I thought one of the main things was we've got a manager on the sideline who can outshout Nathan Jones in 90 minutes of a game. And that takes some doing. So that's something that I am quite pleased with, because all he could hear during that game was him directing the players. I think it's the penalty, the second goal. You can almost hear him. I think he's directing one of the lads to run to the back post, and that kind of gives a space for Jordan to get his header off. So yeah, I think there is promising signs from Tuesday, and I'm never not going to like a manager who just loves shouting a lot on the sidelines. So yeah, give him a chance, I think.
Would you let him shout at you? Not in a sexual way. Let's put that clear.
It's not really a fetish of mine, yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I think if he's inspirational, he can have a go at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you try hard? Do you warm to that style of management? That's what I should have said.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like him. I like a bit of a bollocking now and again. I like someone to be saying, "Come on, pull your finger out. You need to be doing this." Yeah, definitely.
Okay, you chose pull your finger out when we just talked about sexual. Anyway,
Yeah.
right, come on. We're a family podcast. We're a family podcast. Well, it's because you said for the listeners who don't know, you're not at your home base.
No, I've been kicked out my house.
He hasn't, just to clarify.
I'm at a seedy hotel in Rotherham. That's all I can disclose.
And all we are saying is Huddersfield are playing Rotherham next weekend. So we'll just that's just a fact. We'll just see what happens.
Yeah. Maybe you'll see me in the dugout on the Rotherham end. Oh no, they've just got their manager, but he'll be looking for some backroom staff at the moment. That's all I'll say.
Okay. Well, we'll leave the audience to the listeners to fill in the gaps there, shall we? Okay, cool. All right. So we talked a little bit about Mark Fotheringham. It is a draw and defeat in his first 2 games in charge. But as we said, a bit of encouragement in the 3-3 draw with Luton. Saw some neutrals saying, "Oh, Luton must have absolutely dominated that game because they had a lot more shots." Would disagree with that, but it's some encouraging stuff. But it is 11 games played now, 8 points, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 7 defeats for Town, which means they are still 23rd in the table. Town's opponents, Hull City, have lost 5 in 6 and currently managerless, but they got a 2-1 win in midweek against Wigan. However, by the time you probably listen to this, it looks like Pedro Martins, former Olympiacos manager, is set to take charge, who Carlos Corberan replaced, and obviously went really well for Carlos. Hull are a bit of an interesting one. So they're 17th in the table. they've got the worst defence in the division. They've conceded 24 goals. But they've got the top scorer, Oscar Stupinan. Tom, is he your key player for this? I mean, it'd be interesting.
He's in the list. He is in the list. So it is what a signing he could turn out for them, really, when you look at it. I mean, I'd never heard of him before, him going to Hull. He plays like a Colombian. He gets about, gives everyone a bit. A lot of his goals seem to come in the box. So, I mean, that's perfect for a striker, isn't it? You want someone in the box picking up the scrappy things. He gets to the ball first a lot. So it's kind of, if you want to keep him quiet, lads have got to be on it. If that ball's flying in there, make sure it doesn't bounce. It's out straight away, because it looks like from the 8 goals he scored in it, Brady, this season so far. So yeah, right. Most of those have come from a bit of like the ball's played in, it's a bit scrappy, and he's always on the end of it, which is what kind of striker you want. You want someone doing that. Be interesting to see how he goes throughout the season. It's the classic kind of coming to a new club in England in the summer when it's a bit warmer, and then when you're playing for Hull in, you know what I mean, November through to March, it'll be interesting to see if he kind of adapts to that, because he was in Portugal before, I think, wasn't he? So there's quite a difference there. But yeah, so far, what a player. And you keep him quiet, you probably got a chance of winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't, they have conceded 24 goals, which is, more than with 11 games played. It's like they're conceding 2 every game pretty much. So even if you don't, just score more than them and you might be all right. So, which will be fine, because, Town are really good defensively this season. So we won't have anything to worry about.
Too.
No, I mean, it's hard to look past the striker. But I've actually gone for Nathan Baxter. He's the goalkeeper on loan from Chelsea. He was on loan there last season. I think he's a really good keeper at this level. And I know they've conceded the most goals in the division, but he hasn't played all the games, and he had a bit of an injury. I think if Town are going to get any joy from this, we saw a threat from set pieces. It was nice to see that return against Luton.
Yeah,
I just think he'll be. He always seems to be quite good whenever we've seen him play. So I think he could be a busy boy on Sunday. We hope anyway. And he'll have to do well to keep us out, you'd think.
Yeah.
But we'll see, because Tom, you may be in Rotherham, but you've done a little tour of the north, haven't you? You went to Hull.
I have. I've been all over the place. Yeah. I went and caught up with Ant from Hull and Back, the Hull podcast, just to get a feel of what they think ahead of Sunday and how their season's going so far.
We've lost to a pub side. We've literally lost to a pub side.
Hi mate, thanks for joining us. So, how do you think you'll fare this season, and what are your expectations?
It's impossible to tell how we'll do this season. Beginning of the season we had high optimism, new owner, massive upturn in players, well documented. We signed quite a few players, but we've had a League One / lower Championship side standard squad that needed improving if we're to achieve Adrian's aim of obviously getting into the Premier League at some point. But we've been cursed with injuries, so we started really well, then went on a really bad run, and then only just beaten Wigan. But the performances have picked up, and we should hopefully have Pedro Martins as manager by the time we come to you guys, and he'll have seen that this side does have the willingness to press and do well, and take the game to the opposition. So hopefully we see a bit more of that under him, and I'd be happy with a mid-table finish. I think that's where we'll end up.
Sounds like Pedro Martins is set to become your new manager. Are you happy with that appointment, or would you prefer someone else?
I would have probably preferred someone with Championship experience, but in saying that, Pedro Martins has a very successful CV. He's won titles, he's won silver out, he's managing the Champions League, he's managing the Europa League. He took Braga to the Europa League not that long ago. It's the kind of winning mentality I think that a squad like this needs. We've got a lot of players in there that've got international experience. You know, we've got title winners like Sari, Figueiredo won promotion with Forest, etc. You know, we've got players in there that are winners. We just need to unlock that potential that's in the side that we are yet to see. You know, we've got Estepinian up top, who I think if you give him the correct service, he's going to be 20-25 goal a season striker. And he's having to work really hard for his chances at the minute. But hopefully Martins, you know, will set the team up in a way that caters to his strengths, and we, you know, just get him firing and get up the league.
Which player excites you the most for the season ahead?
Definitely Estepinian in a sense of, you know, it's been a while since we've had a striker that looks capable of scoring goals regularly and being in the right place at the right time. Oscar definitely fits that bill. But more recently, we've signed Dogagan Sinik, who is a Turkish international. Had a very good season last season, got a few assists and goals in the Turkish league, but he's come across here and then he got injured and he was out for about 5 or 6 weeks. He only made his debut against Luton off the bench. He started against Wigan on yesterday, on Wednesday night, and he just looks a very, very tidy player. He looks, you know, very skillful, drives forward, wants to go forward, got an eye for a good pass. His delivery from crosses is very good. He just looks like he could be probably one of our best signings of the summer. You know, I'm saying that based on you know, maybe just over an hour of football or so that he's played, but he just looks very, very promising at the minute, does Sinik.
And what's your prediction for Sunday?
We never do well at Huddersfield. It's become part of the tradition to go for a post-match beer to, you know, drown your sorrows after we've been paggered by 3 or 4 goals. But given the change in mentality since Shota Arveladzi's sacking, you know, we really were playing poor. It was a slight improvement against Luton, you know, but Dawson didn't have much time with them. So it was more or less just a continuation of that. And then against Wigan, you know, tenfold the performances across the field were improved. We were pressing high, creating chances, crossing the ball. We looked a lot more organised. Even scored a set piece. It's usually us conceding them. But, you know, hopefully that kind of vein continues and we can, you know, kind of pile the pressure on to Huddersfield. I know you got a very good 3-3 draw against Luton last time out. But as far as I'm aware, you only had about 4 or 5 shots and one of those was a penalty. So, you know, as long as we can limit you, maybe get the first goal, I'd be quite promising. But, you know, all the omens are pointing at a Huddersfield win. So I'm going to go in the happy middle ground and say a 1-1 draw.
Lovely. Tom, did you squeeze in a trip to the deep?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I saw a few fish, saw a turtle, some seahorses. City of Culture, wasn't it? Was it a few years ago? So yeah, it was beautiful. A beautiful city hall. Yeah, so I enjoyed my visit.
Nice. I love the deep, although I remember going with a friend of mine when we were young, and he was like, "Oh, it smells of the sea, this." It's like kind of, yeah, we're in an aquarium, mate. Okay, well, let's stop talking about the deep. We'll have a little quick break, and then we'll come back and do the mailbag. Okay, hello. So,
wait, why did you have a break then? Did you go get a cup of tea or something?
I stretched. So for listeners who don't know, I have
to stretching, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm like a shark. If I don't stop moving, I'll die. So just had to stretch the legs.
Those nipples grown already yet?
My nipples have grown back. Yeah. I was telling this to someone the other day, and they were fascinated that you were so fascinated about this. So I don't know what that says about you.
Yeah, well, I've never had nipple rub before, so I just intrigued. What happens to them? Do they just disappear or fall off or what? You know, like a scab. You've just got like your 2 nipples.
I think it's a shame we're not really allowed in the pre-match presses, because I'd love to ask footballers this. I know there were those like, you know, the sports vests that track but does that protect you from nipple chafe?
Ooh,
the real
yeah.
hard-hitting questions that we all want to know.
That's a good one. We should look into that.
Yeah. Anyway, it's time for the mailbag.
You've got mail.
So, Tom, we've got quite a few questions for this, actually.
Okay.
I thought so. Thank you to the listeners for sending these in. I've not told Tom any of these, so I'm putting him on the spot. So this will be interesting.
Yeah.
But the first question is, Tom, you may have seen there was one man who was getting a lot of stick, and I think the question from Dave Hay is asking this. When I'm referring to the stick, I mean the Luton game.
Yeah.
Dave asks, would a more pertinent question be, why do football fans, not just necessarily Town fans, need a scapegoat? Is there something missing in their life? A nice existential one for you there.
Yeah, good question. I don't think especially recent seasons, I think I've tried my best to avoid a scapegoat, but it becomes a mob mentality, doesn't it, after a little bit? If people start murmuring about a certain player and it starts passing around, and then it kind of just gets ingrained in your mind that, ooh, yeah, them. Ooh, I don't know about them. That's how it works, I think. Are we talking about Sorba really here? More?
I think,
or in
well,
Betty?
I think we might. Well, I assumed it was in Mbete because we had a few Mbete questions, but yeah, I suppose you could apply Sorba to it.
Sorba has been this season, hasn't he? He's been the one that people have been calling out, kind of sometimes for no reason. And I mean, that's just modern football, isn't it? Unfortunately, I think. What is he? 18 and better.
19, I think.
19. But come on, these last two performances, there's been no scapegoating because about 3 of the goals have kind of been from his mistake, and it's just naivety, really. The one against Luton, it was a great example of men against boys, wasn't it? It was like Adebayo's just put him on his ass, basically. It's but then he's kind of held off Hellick as well, and you'd kind of expect someone like Hellick, if with this experience that supposedly was supposed to come in with, maybe expect better from him in that situation. But yeah, I've gone on a tangent now. But why do you scapegoat? I think mob mentality. People just do it, don't they? It's modern football.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'll blame Sorba Thomas for everything, despite the fact he's got the most assists in the league this season. It's not good enough. Everyone knows how I feel about Sorba. I think that's a bit harsh. I think with the scapegoat stuff, I don't want to. I say this a lot, but I think if we're going to treat this as a kind of more existential thing, I think, look, there's a lot of frustrations with where we are at the moment. We finished third. We got to play a final. Lost. We all know how we lost. That was frustrating. We started the season. It's been poor. We're second from bottom, and it's just this squad is better than that. So I can understand why everyone's frustrated. I think you want to point to one thing and just look at why this isn't working, why it is. I think we could argue with Schofield. I think Fotheringham, although 2 games in charge, we're still seeing something's not quite right. I think people always look to blame something because, well, to be honest, it's a lot easier to blame something than just an individual thing than look at several things that contribute to it. So I think there's that. I agree with Dave. It's not just Town. I think any football club, there'll always be someone who's scapegoated or blamed. Look, I think, it's tricky. It depends how you feel about it. People, when they watch football, you want to get a lot of your emotions out. You get stuck in. I mean, we've all said things at football that we regret, or things that if you heard in the cold light of day, you'd be embarrassed if they played it back. Yeah. I know I've certainly said stuff like that, even though, I'm trying to think of anything silly I said. I think I said to, who did I say? No. We all say silly things. I think it's a classic case of those who shout loudest, particularly online. I think if you, like Sorba's been picked out on a few times unfairly, in my opinion, and Bete didn't have the best game. And then I also think, like Matt is a good example of this. He tweeted about Bete having a bad game. And then he did the spaces post-match, and he's already like, well, I actually feel a bit bad for doing that. And I think I'd like to think most people feel like that. You just say it in the heat of the moment. So
exactly.
I think football fans are always going to scapegoat. It's just whether it crosses the line. And I think we've seen this season with Sorba, some of the stuff online has crossed the line. So it's a good question, Dave. No idea why.
Do you know where the term scapegoat comes from, Brady?
I don't.
Quite interesting. It was in the Bible. A goat was sent into the wilderness after the Jewish chief priest had symbolically laid sins of people upon it. Pretty interesting, that, isn't it? There's your fact of the day.
There you go. Come for the question about Mbete, stay for the Bible.
Well, I'd never ever known what it actually meant, to be honest, apart from just laying all the blame on someone else. So I just wanted to Google it quickly and actually know what it meant.
Look at Tom auditioning for QI over here.
Yeah, no, it's Radio 4, isn't it? This tonight.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. If it's Radio 4, I need to respond. Oh, yes. Very clever. That's very interesting. I already knew that, but I'm glad you shared it. So Smilewell asks, shout out to Sean. He asked, getting on the subject of scapegoats, and Better rightly getting a lot of criticism from the game, but he's only 19. What about Hellick? These youngsters need looking after, and his performances overall have been poor since joining us. Rhetorical question: if Pearson was available, would he be dropped? Look, Hellick's a good point. The only thing I will say to defend Hellick is he joined us and he's had no pre-season. So I think that's why he looks a bit rusty, couldn't sort his feet out for the goal. It happens. I think it's tricky. If we're going to compare this, Lionel Messi last season when he joined PSG didn't have a pre-season and he didn't look good. So I think you can be the best player in the world and still not look.
Bad season.
Bete, I think it's tricky because he's obviously a talented player. The game he played for Man City before he joined us was against Barcelona in like a friendly, and they were pretty strong teams. So he's clearly got something about him. Just it's tricky because we've not been good defensively. I think if you look at that and a lot of the questions about our defence, it's probably because we're not playing a consistent. We're not playing the same people. And as young lad, he's coming into a difficult environment. The chips are down. We're bottom of the table. And not everyone is going to be a Levi Colwill and just come in and change it. A lot of loans, we say this, but a lot of Premier League players, it's his first experience with football. A lot of them come in to make these mistakes for them, get better. So when they return to their parent clubs or go out on another loan elsewhere, they've learned from the experience. So, we'll come on because we always predict to, God, that was just words. Just said words. We'll come on to our team predictions, but I don't think he should be in the lineup for the game on Sunday, just kind of to give him a bit of a break. But that doesn't mean to say he can't do what Ollie Turton did last season, come back in, improve and go from there. So, if Pearson was available, I don't think he would be playing. But that's the situation we are. Tom, what?
I'd just say on that, I pretty much say everything you've touched on there. But I think of all the kind of formational positions on a football pitch, the one that needs to stay as consistent as it can be is that kind of back four or back three, whatever you're playing. I just think defensively you need to have a unit that just basically hang out together they play together all the time, they hang out together, they work together. Just that's the most difficult thing. You've got two players who've played next to each other now 2 games in a row, done it for the first time ever, basically. And it does make a difference because you need to know what your kind of partner is like back there. You need to know that if that other centre back's with you kind of pick up on maybe they're a bit more aggressive. That means you can drop off and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It takes time, but do we have that time? Do you know what I mean? At the moment, it's such a shame Pearson is injured because you slot him in there with Lees and then someone else, and I think we tighten up a lot more.
No, I agree. I think we really miss Pearson. Again, kind of in the same wheelhouse. Nathan M asks, "Is Lee Nichols still undroppable?" I think, yeah, I think he is. I looked at the stats; he's only got 1 clean sheet in 11 games, but yeah, he's made some unusual errors, but he's made some good saves, and I think we've kind of touched on defence is, unsettled currently. We've not really played the same lineup more than 2 games in a row. Had 2 managers already. He's a great player. I think it's just like anything. The more consistency we get in terms of selection, I think we'll regain confidence. And he's already saved. He's already made some really good saves in games.
Exactly.
So and if you look at the replacements, who is it? Bilikapic, like a young lad to chuck in. I just think he's going to keep playing. And so he should. I don't think he's. I don't think he should be dropped.
No. You think like last season, he had a much more for most of the season, he had a much more solid defence in front of him. And like you said, he has made some pretty good saves so far this year. And you can't expect him to do everything. If he didn't have mistakes in him, he wouldn't be playing for Huddersfield Town. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
What is it? Maybe 3 mistakes this season, but you have the same defence in front of him this year, then maybe those 3 mistakes aren't happening. It's kind of like averages in it at this level with goalkeepers, because they're just not going to be. Well, I think any goalkeeper in it is such a difficult position, because you make 1 or 2 mistakes and you're slated. A defender or midfielder makes 1, 2, 3 mistakes in a game. It's different. It's because the stakes are so much higher, aren't they? So for me, not droppable. I'd back the lads to come in, but it's basically we're back round to what we were a couple of seasons ago and throwing in Ryan Schofield in the deep end. Is that the right thing to do? Probably not.
No, particularly where we are now. Marcus Burler asks, Fotheringham's showing loads of faith in the youth. Which players do you believe could make the next step up? And how do you see them being used? As so far, he's almost filling the weak points of the squad with youth, like he's trying to give us that bite back in those positions. I have to say, Ben Jackson was really good. And I think he should start against Hull.
Yeah.
Tom, I've gone first in a lot of these. Any youngsters?
Ben Jackson, I've been waiting for him to pop into that starting lineup sooner rather than later. Do you know what I mean? So I was really pleased to see him starting on Tuesday. I thought he was as solid as he could be. The desire to get to that ball ahead of his man as well for the goal is great to see. The beauty of these young players coming in is that they're playing with almost out any fear, and they've got nothing to prove, but then they want to go out there and prove that they can do a job. You know what I mean? It's a brilliant scenario that you've got in, and we've got some really talented lads in that academy. So it's like Kamara having the step up. Diarra's not really done what maybe you thought he would do. This season, thought we'd see a bit more of him already. He's not on loan, is he? That's what I mean. He hasn't gone on loan this season, has he? So, I kind of was hoping we'd have maybe seen a bit of a cameo now and again from him. So yeah, I think more of the same. Ben Jackson and. But then you look out who's out on loan. The lads that I'm trying to think of, and I'm putting names in my head, and most of them are on loan at Harrogate, aren't they? So
yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, we should just call it back from Harrogate, come back in the minibus.
Yeah.
I think Diarra. Look, he was playing in League Two last season. He's had a bit of an injury. It is a big step up, but we can see. Brodie Spencer, obviously there was a lot of talk of him, at the start, and he only played against the, the Carabao Cup against Preston, where we lost 4-1 at home. But I think that was more on Schofield. Maybe we could see him. Obvious one, we've seen him a bit this season, and he's looked good in spells. Pat Jones, but I think we'll probably see more from him. It's weird. Like,
did you know?
I don't actually know. I don't think it was too serious, is it? It's just injured at the moment. But yeah, no, I think you're right. Like people have been crying out to see mostly arrogant. So like, I think it's funny, isn't it? Like you'd maybe say, does Danny Grant get a go? But he's out on loan. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I think Jackson should keep his place. And yeah, probably Pat Jones, Spencer, and Diarra are the ones you look at. So this question is from James Whitaker, who he asks, and I thought I'd include this one, Tom, because when Town are playing rubbish, we love looking back on good and not so good times.
Yeah.
So James asks, who is Town's worst ever loan signing? Do we have a new contender? James, don't be harsh on him, but he's barely played how many games. We've had some absolute stinkers over the years as well. So
has James put his option down there? Was he?
No, he isn't. He hasn't. But right. So I've gone through the last couple of seasons. And I have picked, in my opinion, the worst loan players from the last 5 years. So last season, this will be a little jog of the memory because I completely forgot about some of these. Okay. Last season, Mipo Odebeku, just well, barely played. Pointless, barely played. 2021 season, probably Joel Pereira played 2 games and we can see
terrible. That's a bad one. That's a bad one. He was shocking. What's he even doing great now? Like
he's still playing.
Unbelievable.
Okay, 1920. Andy King, like just not the worst, but out of the list, not the best.
Yeah, not the worst, but out the list. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Completely forgot about this, and this was a disaster. 1819.
I know exactly who you're going to
say. Jason Puncheon.
Yeah, absolute. He was a disgrace. The thing that tipped me over the edge with him was when we were down at West Ham and we were putting in one of our better performances. I think we were 3-1 up or something, and he missed a sitter to make it 4-1. An absolute sitter, like open goal kind of sitter. And then he kind of gave the ball away, and then West Ham started their comeback and won the game 4-3. And like would have been like one of the shining lights from one of the worst seasons ever to go down there and beat West Ham 4-1.
Are you personally blaming Jason
And I am personally blaming him for that. Yeah, I am. He was shocking. He was absolutely shocking player. He'd be up there then, yeah, definitely.
Well, the rumour was he fell out. Like he joined. In fact, like Wagner left, didn't he? Like the day after, and then didn't he get into a fight with Jan Sievert, and that was it.
Who didn't do a fight with Jan Sievert?
Who didn't? 17-18. Yeah, harsh this, but barely played. So not 16-17 before everyone's like, oh yeah. Casey Palmer barely played.
Yeah, well he left, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like 2 months or something.
16-17, all pretty good, apart from this guy called Aaron Moy. Right, okay. Here we go. James, here, I just thought I'd read the whole list. I'm not including all the players in this saying they're terrible. Yeah. But 15-16, Elvis Manu.
Yeah, terrible.
Emir Hughes, Van Lapara. No, I'm not including Van Lapara. Mustafa Carriol.
Scored a worldie to Carriol against Rotherham.
Jamie Patterson.
All right.
All right. Elliot Ward.
Can't even remember him.
Jed Steer.
Oh, Jed Steer, I liked him. Good goalkeeper.
Jed Steer. James Husband.
Yeah. What was he? Right back or something.
Yeah, Ben Chilwell. So, like you say, I'd completely forgot about some of them. I mean, Ben Chilwell was all right. Like you said,
worst one, Lucas Djukovic.
Yeah.
Simply because when he stormed off and threw his shirt at Lee Clark, and then I don't think he ever played again for us, did he? So he was a bad one. I thought was Lionel Ainsworth wasn't on loan and then we signed him. He was just terrible when we signed him, wasn't he? So he wasn't a loan. I can't think of any. Liam Dickinson, he was on loan, I think. But I guess he scored a couple of goals for us. I'm trying to
We'll
think of
tweet
anyone who. I think Djokovic probably mine.
Djokovic. I'm going punching because that's kind of like, I think that's pretty bad. Like, he didn't
Oh
care
yeah,
who
he was
played as well.
terrible. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I asked Matt because he's older than us.
Yeah.
Andy Williams, he said in the mid-90s,
Right.
not the best, and Steve Baker. So what I'll do is I reckon we'll tweet that out because that'll be an
Yeah,
interesting
definitely.
one.
Yeah.
We'll get some interesting responses. So yeah, do let us know when that tweet goes out. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Tom, the lineup. It's time for You're the Boss. So the lineup for the previous league game.
Yeah.
It was a 3-5-2. So we had Nichols, Lees, Hellick, and Bette, Thomas, Kamara, Kasumi, Holmes, Jackson, Rhodes, and Ward. Hey Tom, who was the people who were saying, "Oh, Dwayne Holmes should play in midfield"?
It was me and you.
Oh, it was me and you, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it
you
was.
can tell.
I wrote a letter to Mark Fotheringham asking him to do it. I think he must have read it.
Yeah, there you go. Power of influence. Obviously, Kasumu can't play in this one because they got 2 yellows. What would you do for this one then? Would you keep the same formation?
Pretty much, yeah. I'd if Nakayama is fit, I'd be bringing him in for Mbete.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess Kasumu. If you're going off who was on the bench, probably Rudoni slots in that middle for where Kasumu was. I'm assuming Hogg and Russell are available.
Might be. We don't know.
If they are, I'd probably rank it Hogg, Rudoni, Russell at the moment, given form.
Okay.
I think Russell and Kamara. I guess Kamara's got that speed in him that I'm saying Hoggy's. I just think Hoggy and Kasuma are more similar. You know what I mean? They're that kind of little scrappy player that you need in there as well. I don't think Russell comes in and complements Kamara as well as that kind of player.
No.
So I think that I'd actually keep it the same, and then Nakayama and Hogg or Rudoni, where Kasuma was.
I've put I've done that basically. Done the same. I think Rudoni should start just see how it goes. Nakayama. I mean, to be fair, you could play. You could actually give Will Boyle a start if Nakayama's not fit.
Yeah, well, why not? Yeah, why not?
The Boilmeister.
I mean, come on, he can't make as many mistakes as Mbete has in his last 2 games, surely. Do you know what I mean? I sometimes it's just a bit of confidence as well, isn't it? What's Boyle played 2 games? I mean, he came on for 1 game and fell over straight away, but he might have
and then hacked someone. He fell Grant, didn't he? And it should have been like a definite pen. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking myself out of it.
I just feel like Mbete's confidence is surely shot at the moment. If he's, you know what I mean, I would not be throwing him in.
Yeah, again. Particularly because someone on a podcast keeps criticising him.
Yeah, it's me. Look, I was well excited when he signed, and I think you've got a player there, but throwing a 19-year-old lad into such a key position like that, maybe it was expecting a bit too much.
I'm not writing him off. I think it's a long season. We've got 4 weeks off for the World Cup. I think he could come back. But yeah, I wouldn't play him for this. I'd probably go Nakayama.
But then maybe I'm going on my thing that I said earlier, and you want to keep that consistency. Maybe you just keep playing Lees, Hellick, and Betty. Maybe that's what he likes. Maybe that's why. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? Yeah. They're glaring mistakes, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. I do like our 5 a bit more now, though. Like Thomas, I thought Thomas was really good. I thought Jackson deserves another go. Kamara's looking good. I think can tell he's still a young lad, but he's made a really impressive start. I think Holmes had a really good game. I don't know. I'm still not sure if Rhodes and Ward like work the best together.
Mm.
But I have to say, I've been very impressed with Jordan so far this season. I don't think
He's been the
Waterfield,
better of the two so far, I think, for me.
yeah, and long, more medium term, long term, like Simpson, Tyree Simpson will probably be back
Yeah,
after the
I'm
World
looking
Cup, and
forward
that
to
could
him.
be interesting.
Yeah, a bit of pace up there would be very welcome, wouldn't it? From what he's looked like for Swindon, that's basically his game, is running at people and then just toe prodding it.
Yeah, I mean, we need
No,
that.
but he just doesn't look like he's not scared of having a go and having a go at players. And I think throw him in the mix. That's a great asset to have up there.
100%. Okay, so we've pretty much put the same team then. What's your match score prediction on?
It'd be great not to concede 3 again, wouldn't it?
No, it'd be terrible.
How about 4 for Hull?
Yeah, I'd love to concede double.
Yeah, I think Town are going to win this
All right,
game.
nice.
I actually think Town are going to win this game, Brady, 2-1.
Oh, okay. I like it.
I think it'll be quite close. I wonder if they'll have what's his face in by then, Pedro, which be interesting. But yeah, I think Town can win this game, and Town can definitely score. I mean, we've just come off the back scoring 3. If our set pieces are as good as they were against Luton, yeah, come on, 2-1 Town.
Nice. Okay, I've gone for we're playing the worst defence in the division. We can't defend. I'm going for 3-2 Town. I think it's going to be a good game for the neutral, but I think it's just going to be. They've got a guy who can score. I can see him scoring at least one. But I also think they're terrible at the back, so I can see us scoring more than one. So could be a good game, and I think
9-7 for Town.
Can you imagine? Hey, maybe we could do what City did to United, 6-3. I'll take that. Don't think so somehow, because we have Jordan Rhodes and not Erling Haaland. Although, as Erling Haaland scored 95 goals in the Championship, it's hard to say who's better.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, 95 goals to Town, I should say. No, 95 goals in the Championship. Yeah, I'm going 3-2.
Yeah.
So we're both going for Town wins. That's interesting. Then we'll see how it plays out. But before we go, Tom, we need a hero. We're 23rd in the table. Someone to lift us up. Someone to really, get some elbow grease in that team and lift them up. Who would that be, Tom?
Lucas Djukovic.
Yeah.
The amazing elbow.
I think the fans could probably see I was trying my best, working hard.
The amazing elbow.
As a centre forward, the last thing you want is a goal drought starting off at a club. Started on my own up front, and the really good centre forwards like Jordan were rested.
So, what's the current score on the poll? Because this is live polling, it could change. We might have to do polling. We might have to do like 4 different scenarios.
Nah, it's Dizzy penalties.
Okay, so Dizzy penalties is going to win. So where we were last is Hawkeye had its little meltdown, didn't it? Because it couldn't take the pressure. So Amazing Elbow escapes from the clutches of the Cabbage Man and his dinner ladies, but he starts to get surrounded by them on the pitch and is saved by David Wagner's Barmy Army. Little did we know that kind of fell through, didn't it? And before the celebrations could erupt, the saviour of the David Wagner Barmy Army is interrupted by dizzy penalties taking place on the middle of the pitch. So as the dizzy penalties take place, the Amazing Elbow runs towards Rambo and grabs the microphone and he screams into it, ...
What does he scream into it, eh? Oh, I like that. Screams into the microphone. Do you want to go first, Tom?
If I can do, I haven't particularly got one, so I'll just make.
Same.
But he he screams into it. Single man, reveal yourself. There you go. Steal Matt's meme.
Also, it's really funny because me and Matt were talking about, have you seen this interview where he gets called Braveheart in like the German press and he like fucking kicks off, and then like Matt's like, oh yeah, I was in this Death Star in this interview, and then before I know it, he's done a video where he's pretending he's Paddy McGuinness.
Yeah.
Okay, single man, reveal yourself. I think so he grabs the microphone off Rambo and he said, what's that in the cowshed loyal?
Oh, mysterious. So we've only got two there, Brady. Is that enough, or do you want to just throw in a random?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what it could be. Maybe we'll just add it on to the end anyway.
Let's think.
All right.
I think he launches into a karaoke rendition of The Winner Takes It All.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
What is your karaoke song, Tom, actually?
Oh, I've got a number, mate.
Okay. If I just say right now, first one, what's the one?
Phil Collins, The Studio is one of my favourites to get everyone going.
Oh, nice.
Any Neil Diamond.
Yeah.
I do a mean Neil Diamond impression. So
yeah.
maybe one day coming to a social club near you, there'll be a Tom Bradshaw, Neil Diamond impersonator.
I want to see that. What about me? Well, it depends. I'm a crowd pleaser. If you didn't gather, so it depends who I'm with. I think if I'm with people my age, nothing wrong with doing some Avril Lavigne.
Yeah.
I'm with you. You know the ballad. Do you remember that? Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with Alanis Morissette. Ironic that I did that on a stag do in Sheffield to critical acclaim. There happened to be some broadsheet journalists. You know? No, true story. Went down very well at a karaoke pub in Sheffield.
A true story, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Not the journalist, but yeah. I got clapped.
All right.
No, I wrecked my knee right before I was meant to sing. So like, there's a picture of me. I won't tweet it out, but there was a picture of me holding onto my knee, like in absolute agony, belting out Alanis Morissette. Yeah. So So either that, or I have done Pulp Disco 2000.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. That is a good one. My mate does Tequila, and that always gets a laugh, obviously.
Oh yeah. Also on the stag do, as karaoke, I've seen this girl on her own just sang, and I'm talking the crowd is like a stag do of 20-somethings, and then the rest is like mums and dads. Like we're talking like 45 plus.
Yeah.
Start singing Because I Got High on her own.
Nice one.
So we'll leave you on that. We'll also. Why don't we tweet about people's karaoke songs as well?
Yeah, send us in your favourite karaoke songs.
Favourite karaoke songs and the worst ever lone player. Town are doing rubbish at the moment, but we will keep bringing in these random questions. We loved all the pie chat, by the way. That was great. So keep it coming. That's what I say. But we'll probably stop it there, Tom. Before we talk about karaoke songs, because people accuse us of doing what Stephen Chicken and Hartrick do now, which is where they recommend albums, but we're talking karaoke songs. So
true.
Anyway, that's better, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll do a blog on my review of The Holiday Inn in Rotherham for you. Anyway, there we go.
Nice. Okay, cool. Okay, so while Tom does that, we'll say thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to Magic Rock for sponsoring this. Maybe karaoke night at the tap room. Who knows?
Yeah.
But if you are going to the tap room, or if not, do you know what? You want to order online, get them straight to your house. Who wants to leave the house? It's getting colder. You can get 10% off orders that you do online with the code AHTTC10. So that's our little code. Use it.
Use it or lose it, as they say.
100%.
Don't think you will lose it, but use it.
You'll lose our respect if you don't use it. That's what happens.
Yeah.
And we'll end it there. Cheers, everyone. To top it out and up the town.
Up the town.
So town play up, bring the car back to Huddersfield.